Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Let's see, roll call. Is everybody? Looks like everybody's here. Okay, the minutes to the April meeting were
They were sent out.
They were sent out. Has everybody had a chance to read over them? Okay. Anybody have any?
Yeah, Susie had some corrections.
Okay.
They're not big deals, they're just clarification kind of stuff.
Like compared is in there and Chair Marcus was spelled wrong.
Yeah.
Apostrophe S here. It was there. Anyway, so they're corrected.
Kind of making it a
They're
little
all,
more clear.
okay, so if there's no additions or corrections?
It's an addiction, I can't
Yeah.
help it.
Okay,
There is a correction.
there's one correction,
Well,
okay.
there's several, but just spelling errors.
Okay, well, then I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Okay, I have a motion from Matt, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I got a second from Susie. All in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, let's see, anything under the clerk's report?
I am turning in my resignation. That's my report.
Okay, yeah, she told me so, if there's anybody who would like to be interested in the job of clerk that thinks that that they might be qualified, I guess, be sure and get in touch with me because by the next meeting we're going to need a clerk. So, okay, treasurers.
Steve, a question. Does
Yeah.
it have to be a Pitkin resident or can it be a Gunnison
No,
County?
it does not have to be a Pitkin resident. Not to,
Anybody in the.
because this is a town employee.
Right, not a.
We're just.
We're not
we're just-
voted, I'm just an employee, yes.
Yeah, we're just hiring this person.
So they can be from anywhere.
They can be from anywhere.
Okay.
Okay, treasurer's report.
We had a lot of building permits turned in. That's about it.
Okay.
Everything else is pretty normal.
Did I get a copy of? Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Here it is.
It might be under here, that might. Or
Okay,
maybe not.
I think I stole Jim's. Say that. Okay, I'll get Jim. Are there any questions on any line item on the treasurer's report? If not, I would ask for a motion to approve April's disbursements.
I'll make that motion. Approve
Okay.
April's disbursement.
Okay, I got a motion from Cindy. Do I
Second it.
got a second from Rand? All in favor of approving April's disbursements, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, mayor's report. Well, I went to they had a mayor-manager meeting last Thursday at the airport, hosted by the county, and they basically went over operations of the airport, what they plan to do, how they plan to fix the runway, and like that. It was an interesting meeting, and I guess something that we need to kind of talk about. I was thinking about a committee to work on rules for these VRBOs. And I thought maybe if we could kind of think about it, maybe I put it on the agenda for the next meeting. We need to come up. I know that the zoning spells out things, but I think there's other things like we need a local manager, we need a phone number of the manager on the building, and things like that that have been mentioned. I think there's a lot of good ideas out there, and I would like to get a committee going to kind of work this out, and maybe the process for doing a conditional change. I just kind of guessed at it if we're going to do it, and it doesn't necessarily have to be trustees. I'd like to have people from out there. You know, so, you know, to get more input. I guess that I'd be willing to be on it, and maybe one trustee, maybe James if he wanted to, or something else, or somebody else. But I would like to have a couple of people just from the town, possibly that are involved. Yes.
I'd be happy to be on that.
Okay, well, I'll put this on the agenda for the next meeting, and because I don't have it on there now, and so I'll put it on there. People have a chance to kind of think about it, and we'll kind of do it like that. Okay, that's all I had. I think Juliet had some public comments. Oh, okay.
We're not to public comments, we have attorney report first.
That's okay.
Did I miss that? I'm sorry.
Count.
That's all right.
Have you-
Sometimes it's good to be overlooked. No report.
Okay. Okay, Juliet, sorry.
Sorry, Jim.
All right.
All right, please bear with me while I read this. I know some of you don't like my statements, but I don't want to leave out any pertinent details. First of all, I want to thank all of you for your dedication and willingness to serve as members of this governing body. I also want to apologize to the individual members of the town council and the zoning board for any unintended disrespect you may have felt on a personal level when I questioned some of the past decisions of the council. That was never my intention. I value our personal relationships and friendships, but a personal relationship should not preclude a citizen from doing their duty, which includes holding the government accountable for their actions. As a citizen, I am disheartened right now over a few members of the council and the zoning board whose recent conduct is unbecoming of a public official. It pains me to say that a couple of you seem to be trying to wield your authority to do permanent damage, from spreading slander to not having the common courtesy to speak to constituents about their differences of opinion, to trying to bully some of the constituents into silence. As heartbreaking as all of this is, it's not something I need to dwell on further, because an accounting of these actions and many others may be forthcoming. This community holds our state and national representatives to a high standard. You wouldn't vote for a president with a record of mismanagement of funds, or elect a senator with a criminal history or a violent past. A congressman who ignores the concerns of his citizens will invariably be ousted. Likewise, taxpayers and constituents of Pitkin won't accept anything other than those same high standards from our local officials. The way of the future is here. Internet background checks, records requests, statements made on social media, in private messages, emails, and on video, all can be used to hold our public officials accountable, from the President of the United States on down. If any public official cannot stand up under scrutiny from their constituents, then perhaps they should stand down from their positions. This leads me to my final point. Despite numerous praises I have gotten for my proactive and effective work as Town Hall Commissioner, I received an unprofessional written message dated March 17, 2015 from a trustee that said in part, quote, "I have heard people say they don't want you to do the melodrama or be involved in anything else related to the town. I don't even see why you care," end quote. It has also been circulated that I should be, quote, "run out of town," end quote, because I dared to stand up for transparency in government. The most unfortunate thing of all is that regardless of my earnest efforts for Town Hall, which include maintenance and repairs, fire safety and fundraising, I know that some members of this council were intent on not re-electing me as a volunteer commissioner, as some of you have been soliciting replacements for my position only, when in fact all volunteer positions are up for election, going so far as to promise a win to whoever would run against me because of my opinions being unpopular with the council and some townspeople. It's shocking how far some people will go to use their proverbial teeth to promote their own personal agendas, regardless of how illegal, unethical, or detrimental it may be to the town. There is at least one trustee who was willing to cancel their summer vacation plans so they can clean the town hall outhouses regularly, haul buckets of water up the stairs to clean the floors, stand on a ladder with a shop vac to suck up all the dead flies and cobwebs, take care of the floor refinishing project, dust and polish all the surfaces of the auditorium and stage, clean all the windows, and personally oversee all the events planned for this summer just to teach me a lesson. Look, I love volunteering my time as a town hall commissioner. I have plans for a town hall fundraiser featuring the bluegrass band Free the Honey. The Melodrama will be using the hall and stage again this summer, and the town hall will be hosting the first annual art walk in cooperation with local artisans, and I'd really like to see these projects through. Additionally, 2 full-time residents have stepped forward and offered to be co-commissioners with me to make sure the building is cared for if needed. But despite my record of service and passion for this volunteer position, unfortunately there were a couple of council members who seemed to be guilty of discriminatory and retaliatory behavior and would relish the opportunity to vote me out of office. It is my intention at this time to step down voluntarily as Secretary and Treasurer Pro Tem, and regardless how you vote later where I am concerned, I implore you, please, be fair in your dealings with your constituents. Talk to us face to face about our differences, and you will earn our respect. Continue the usual modus operandi against the constituents, and you will earn our contempt and our fear. As one of our nation's founding fathers once said, when people fear the government, there is tyranny. History shows where there is tyranny, there will be revolution. I'll close with this. Thomas Jefferson said, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. So before litigation bankrupts our beloved Pitkin, let's be the change that we want to see, working together, moving forward into the future in the best interest of all. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I didn't get any notes from, anybody else. Didn't get any notes from anybody else, so we will go down to Commissioner and Community Reports. Anything under building?
I'm finally catching up.
You're catching up?
Getting all
Thus the
permits
checks.
issued. That's why there's so many here now.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got to deposit.
Okay. Okay, is that all under building? Anything under zoning?
We had a meeting.
Okay. Fire department?
We got our tanker truck in getting the seal put in the pump. It's some fancy seal. It's got to be high speed seal.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they were gonna find out how they were gonna charge us. And they went to the board meeting and the board said, we do such a nice job up here for them that they'll just trade us our time for their time.
Well, that was good.
So we might have to pay the parts, but
Okay.
their mechanic's gonna fix it all.
Well, that's,
Hopefully
okay,
it's
good.
done pretty quick.
Is that all under fire department? Okay, Parks and Rec? Okay, environmental health? No report. Streets?
Yes,
Is there a report?
I'm gonna bring gravel up as soon as, it dries up a little bit
Okay,
and start filling potholes and stuff.
okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ditches, oh,
Ditches are on?
okay, ditches, yes, I have noticed that, and they look good.
Are they running water or snowmelt?
It's water.
Okay. Is that all that you had?
Yep.
Okay, cemetery?
No report.
No report. PHCA?
The PHCA sent out their annual newsletter this week, I got mine this week. And I didn't know how many of you guys received those, but the PHCA as a organization just thanks you for your support in keeping this building open and available through the winter for all the things it's been used for. So that was written in the letter. Just wanted you guys to know that you were appreciated in writing.
Okay, thank you. Town hall?
I actually have this project proposal. I've never written a bid before, so I wanted you guys to look at it because, if you can just pass them down, that'd be great. Because if you want to add anything or give me some suggestions on how I can make it better before because my understanding is I have to publish it, right? It has to be published in the newspaper?
No, you just give it out to contractors.
Just give it out to contractors? Okay.
Well, this is what I came up with, so if you guys have any suggestions on how I can improve it.
I may not have, is there more? I don't think we got enough down, not too far in. There we go.
Did everybody get one?
Okay. Well, yeah, just go ahead and get some bids
Okay.
and you can go, but appreciate you letting us know. Yeah, because I see you're gonna have it done by July 1st because we host a mayor-manager meeting the first Thursday of July, which will be shortly after that. Oh, okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. We will go down to old business. Anything on the municipal court?
Well, somewhere in this pile of papers, I didn't receive any additional responses to my queries from the listserv. I think that what I provided you at the last meeting provides you the ability to adopt an ordinance. The question would become whether or not you wish to adopt an ordinance and then begin the process of seeking a judge, or if you want to adopt the ordinance and then delay seeking a judge until such time as you have a case.
Okay.
So there's a big or there, so that means we could delay looking for a judge until a case is set.
Well, it gets a little bit wonky on that, Matt, and the reason I say that is that I think the state statute says thou shalt have a municipal court. Every town and city shall have a municipal court, and it provides a protocol for hiring the judge, and the payment protocol. Judge needs to be paid annually. I would submit that under the circumstances that the purpose of the entire statute is that there are municipal courts in place to hear ordinance violations, and that I think it's a reasonable accommodation to set your protocol in place and then search for the judge when you have to.
That's what I would like, that's what we think.
I think that that's something that it's probably not strictly in compliance in terms of the state's mandatory nature, but nonetheless, I think that it's a reasonable accommodation for a town that hasn't had a municipal court hearing since approximately the end of the second Reagan administration.
So the big or in there basically gives us the option, right?
Well, no, what I'm suggesting is that you guys should choose
The first one.
one or the other and
Okay.
then publish that which you prefer. I don't think that you can have an ordinance that has a big fat or in the middle of it.
That's what I was
That would be inappropriate.
So if we wanted to take the first option, which is until there's a need for it, basically.
Mhm.
And so we cross out the or and everything after that in that paragraph.
Yeah, I think that you could do that, Matt. That's why I gave you the choice.
I think that's the obvious option. I mean, personally, but I don't know if
So-
everybody agrees with that or not, but
Oh, where did you get that copy? I don't think we
he
have.
handed it out last week,
Oh,
or last
okay.
month.
Last meeting.
So is that something you need to kind of check over and then present it at the next meeting, or?
It's up to you. I think that any way you slice it, there's some case law that provides a favorable interpretation of the word shall in that context. It's up to the Board of Trustees. You can move to approve conditionally now, or you can bump it off till the next meeting. Quite frankly, I don't think it's a pressing issue.
Okay. Well, since I've got municipal court listed, but I don't have that we were gonna approve an ordinance, so
Okay.
maybe we ought to wait till we have that on there.
Then put that for the agenda next time.
And Jim, would it be appropriate to rewrite the ordinance by removing the or, that last sentence?
Certainly,
I mean, that would.
can we get a straw poll of the Board of Trustees so I can know that that's the direction they want to choose?
So does everybody understand, it's, one way it's, we wait until there's a case to look for a judge, and otherwise we try to look for one now, right?
Right, that's exactly correct, yeah.
Should have one in place before, I think. right?
Well, yeah, but you have to pay them. I mean, you may go for 5 years and pay them for 5 years and
No,
never have a case, court case. Now, he's saying you can,
To kind of,
please clarify if I'm wrong, but you can wait until there is a court case, then go get it, then look for a judge, then hire him.
I'm suggesting that that's a reasonable finesse.
Yeah, right, of the state statute.
Yes.
I think personally, for, not, rather than spending the money, I don't know, personally, but.
And it doesn't really, what I'll do is I'll just draft it both ways for the next meeting,
Oh, okay,
Matt.
great.
Okay, that would
okay.
be good.
And then that way.
That's the only thing, the question on here,
we have
right?
to
Yes.
put it in the paper?
No, we're not going to approve it. At the next meeting, I'll present both.
Okay.
And subject to approval, then the publishing will be between the June meeting and the July meeting.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's see. The open records request. I put it on the agenda and we got another one. We'll have to
We've got
kind of,
another two.
we got two, well, we got that other one.
You pass these that way, Sean. You pass these that way, Steve.
So I missed the one where there wasn't anything on the zoning.
Would you pass these down?
I have an extra, if that's all right.
Nancy. Okay, so what I've done is I actually did call the county attorney and confirm that he had no heartburn with me basically cribbing their policy. It provides a guideline for handling open records requests, and it's based in large part upon the Gunnison County protocol. I think it's pretty straightforward. And at the back of it, I've also attached a copy of Gunnison's public records request form. They have an interactive website, which I don't know that the town of Pitkin has. So I just kind of provided that so you'd have some idea as to how they do their records request, because their protocol is you have to use their form, and you can send it via email or by hand delivery to the county attorney. And the way I've set this out is that it's effective upon receipt by the town clerk. And I was going to add they can deliver it to the town attorney, but at some level I didn't want to create more confusion, given that I'm half an hour away and not always there. Every now and
Okay.
again I go out of town.
So do we have to vote on this and then publish it, right?
What I would request is your review, any questions that you might have as to the proposed ordinance. If everyone's amenable to it, I would ask that it be approved for publication.
Okay. But this basically is what the county does.
Very similar.
Okay.
Major differences are, leave a blank on the end of paragraph 7. I wasn't sure which website the request form should be posted on, so I did leave that blank. That can be
Okay.
filled in today. There's no reference to emails and their website and stuff like that, but the only really substantive difference, one would be in paragraph 5.2, which relates to charges for staff time. The county charges $30 an hour, which I am not sure is in conformance with the provisions of CORA. I believe that $25 an hour is the maximum that a governmental entity can charge in terms of staff time. So that's a little bit different. And then if you look at 5.3, I added some language just identifying that in order to make larger copies, Nancy Deutsch had to drive into town, into Gunnison. So I put it right in there that the actual cost shall include travel time from the town of Pitkin to Gunnison to make the copies. Other than that, the great majority it is cribbed from the good county of Gunnison.
Okay.
Yes, Matt?
Is it necessary to have a website, email type request, or could it just be in the U.S. Post Office? I mean, for a small town, I mean,
I don't know that it's necessary. I think that maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but the reality is that our culture is evolving, and it's going to be at some point that you've got to have the capacity to take requests via email.
You just had the town email, the town@pitkinik.com, I think. Because that would be the clerk's email.
Directing to the following website, not, which they have an online.
They do it the online, but do we do an email or do we do a website?
Well, the reason I said website was because that's where the request form would be.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be like sent by the town clerk to them, they're requesting it.
Well, the website would say, here's your form, fill it out, and
Email it
provide
to-
a protocol to either email it to the town clerk or mail it to P.O.
Or
Box
physically
9 or
mail it.
whatever it
So we
is.
need to put it on a website.
So we have to put a PDF one there.
Yep.
This is basically a pretty rare occurrence here until recently.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is
yes.
We
not-
haven't had any in 7 years
7
until the
years
last
and
3
now-
months.
now it's
And
become
since we're
commonplace.
going to be getting we're going to be getting these every month, I think that we ought to vote on this and get it published so we can finalize it maybe at the next meeting.
The Gunnison County, I talked to their county attorney today and his staff, and they are receiving core requests at an almost geometric progression. They have doubled every year for like the last 5 years, which is a system is basically going to fail at some point.
Right, right.
But that's why it's important to have a protocol set up so that when it comes in, boom.
Yeah. So we need to know the website, right? To put it
Yeah,
in
we need to
ordinance.
put that in. That's why I left it blank, because I didn't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what the website was that you'd want to post it on. I figured that Miss Susie would know, so.
Yeah, I think it would be, if Corey doesn't mind, Pitkin, Colorado government, where I can't find him,
Not a problem.
wherever you are. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, wouldn't be a
Yeah, and
problem.
then we could just have another thing on there, and it would just go to a PDF of the form, and they could attach it to their email, or they could mail it in.
Yeah, we can just create a page specifically for open records requests, and it would have the document and
And we
instructions for
could
filling it out.
put the fees on
Sweet.
there
Send it in,
too.
basically your protocol there for requesting something from them. Be a piece of cake.
That'd be perfect, Corey.
Do you want to, we should give him a, this is what, do you want to see what theirs looks like?
Yeah, we can do that after the meeting, that's not a big deal.
See what looks like?
So the form.
Oh, yeah, right.
So he knows what it needs to look like on the website. But what would be the website? Well, you don't know the website yet, you'd have to give it to us.
It'd just go to the government page,
Of Pitkin,
And, I mean,
Colorado.
at least what I'm sitting here thinking is we just do it under the government page and just make a link on there for open records request on the government homepage. So somebody would go to Pitkin, Colorado, click on government and open records request, and it would pop up and say, here's your
So maybe just the
instructions, here's your
Pitkin,
form.
Colorado website.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that would be fine.
I mean, I think at this point, the easiest thing would just be have a PDF that they print out, fill out by hand. Maybe if it gets to be numerous, maybe we work towards something that's where they just fill in their name and their stuff and they automatically email, but I don't think it's worth going down that rabbit hole yet.
I don't know that we need the interactive at this point. It creates a whole castle of problems, but. So for today, if you guys want to vote to approve this with the amendment to fill in the blank with the
Okay.
Pitkin government page or something to that effect.
Well, I think that we should, because if upon further study, we find something in there that we don't think is correct, it can be changed at the next meeting, or we can vote to change it. It's not going to be finalized, so.
No.
So, I would like a motion to accept this and put it out for publication.
I would move to accept this ordinance regarding the establishment of guidelines for handling requests for public open records.
Okay,
I would move that we accept it.
okay.
And
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a second from James.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a
Sure.
friendly amendment?
Okay.
Susie, may I make a friendly amendment to reference the amendment in paragraph 7 to reference the Pitkin government website? James, you approve?
Sure.
yeah, it should just be Pitkin, Colorado, just all run together.com.
And we have the clerk read the motion.
I have no idea.
Say
Motion
this
to accept the ordinance regarding establishing guidelines. I was gonna fill this in later. Establishing guidelines for handling requests for public open records. And then what the extra,
Paragraph 7 is amended.
okay, paragraph 7 amended to say pitkincolorado.com.
Yeah, and then I would just kind of put comma government section so that they can find it.
Super.
.com government section.
Okay. All in favor of accepting this ordinance for publication, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you.
I don't know,
We will now
because
skip,
if we do a zoning ordinance, we're not gonna know yet. We don't know. We don't know yet.
we'll now skip down to new business. A temporary change of use for Rand Makowski to keep a horse on his property is just for a temporary time. Would you like to?
I'm gonna turn it over to Lisa because it's her horse and she
Oh,
knows
okay.
what's going on. Why do you
I
want
have
her?
the horse there. She's doing very well.
Okay,
Why do you want to keep her there?
I want to keep her there until, I want to keep her there through the summer.
at the zoning meeting, it was mentioned August 15th, is that?
Okay, perfect. And be able to treat her and have her there.
Okay.
For medical reasons, correct?
Yeah, oh yeah, she's got this. So it's a temporary use.
Okay, yes.
Isn't it really a conditional use?
Well, that's probably
yeah.
so. I probably didn't get the exact right word in
Yeah.
yes.
Because it's a conditional use as defined in the zoning.
Yes, that's what it would be, yes. I was just thinking temporary, and that's what I was thinking when I put that on there.
Does anybody have, I
But-
don't have an issue with the horse.
But the horse has been there for 2 weeks because the zoning board gave the okay to put it
Yes.
there for 2 weeks. I haven't seen it running around or heard it bark, so I kind of like it.
Yeah.
And nobody has said anything to me about it being a problem.
And
Yeah.
there really are no close neighbors, right? That, I mean,
Not,
Susie,
Yeah, I love it. I love hearing it, Winnie.
yeah.
I love looking over there and seeing it.
I've looked over, just to look over and see it, I've done that.
it's a she.
She,
Ginger.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Does anybody have any comments?
I got a comment.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with it at all.
Okay, well, thank you.
I don't see why anybody would. They are the last people before you reach BLM.
Yeah,
So I don't
Okay.
see there's a problem with it at all.
I don't see a problem either. The horse is contained, it's getting the care it needs, it's not causing a nuisance.
okay.
It's fine.
Juliet?
Yeah, I was gonna say, that horse is her pet, and if one of our pets was sick, we would definitely have it right here so we could treat it and make sure it gets better,
Okay,
so.
okay, thank you.
I would say, plus, I don't know about you, but on a income of nothing, pretty much, I couldn't afford a trip down to Bob's place to treat it 3 times a day or how many times a day you have to treat it. So,
Okay, is the,
I make a motion, we approve the conditional use for Ram Makowski's property for a horse. for a
okay,
horse.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion from Matt, a second from Sean. All in favor of approving the conditional use signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Who said
Abstained,
that?
Mr. Mayor,
Sean? Yes,
did the Board of Trustees intend to have a time period?
yes, August 15th.
You want to have a second motion because the previous motion didn't reflect the time period?
Okay.
No,
Okay,
let me clarify. Conditional use is usually for a 1-year period.
Says 2 years.
2.
It was a 1.
I have a comment. That's okay. I just wanted to point out, in your wording, if it matters, conditional uses are construction facilities, public
Exactly.
utilities, heavy equipment, or home-based occupation. So my opinion is that Steve thinks he was correct in the temporary use, which is temporary use.
somebody agreed?
It's just not, it's not,
Okay.
your zoning code is not under the fort, just to keep things.
It does say that, but not to exceed 2 years. Should be less.
But the temporary use definition says it can't be over 14 days.
But temporary use is in section 9, which is, I made a note saying it's inconsistent with paragraph 35, temporary use definition, provides that such temporary use permit shall be valid only for the period of time granted by the Board of Trustees. So I would submit that Rachel is absolutely correct, that within the current definition of conditional usage, this would be deemed to be a temporary use. And I would submit to you that, given the inconsistency between section 9 and definition 35, that the Board of Trustees has some flexibility and thus should use a specific time period.
Okay, so,
I would like to amend my motion then to allow the horse till August 30th,
August 30th,
2015.
okay,
I'll second.
okay.
Okay, just a minute.
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys are going
okay.
so fast. I cannot write
Okay.
this fast.
Yes,
So we're, a new motion,
Amending,
amending motion, but it's not a conditional use. It's a motion to approve a temporary use.
until August 30th.
Rand Makowski's property, because you've got to put in what it is, right?
yes,
Property, until August 30th. Okay. To have a horse, should we have that in there? Or is it
Yes, to have
yes,
One
to
horse.
have a
temporary use of, to have 1 horse
Okay,
by, and then second by Sean, right?
that's right.
Okay.
Now you
Okay.
vote on the amendment. Vote on the amendment and then vote on the main motion. Just,
Okay, I already have the vote from the first one.
Yes.
Is that one
Now-
in still?
Now we have to vote on the amendment,
Right.
is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, we're gonna vote on the amendment to set the date at August 30th. And I have a
And it's a-
motion, and I have a second.
And then
Okay,
do we have to do another vote?
Yeah.
okay. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay, now we have to vote on,
The main motion to start.
On the main motion.
The amended motion.
yeah, the amended motion. So let's vote on the amended motion. I guess I'll need, I'm still gonna need a motion and a second, or can we go on what we have?
It was,
It would- You just need a vote.
just need a vote.
Okay, all in favor of the amended motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Okay. I think it was 5, 4, and 1
Oh,
abstention.
what?
5, 4.
Yeah, well, there were 5 votes in favor and 1 abstained.
There's 7
Six.
people.
6, okay, 6, yeah, I wasn't thinking about
They're
that.
all confused, Steve.
Yeah,
It's conditional math.
okay.
601 on all of them, right? It was never a 7. because
Okay,
nobody
now-
signed. Yeah.
Now we're down to voting on the commissioner positions, and we usually just vote them all at once. I didn't receive any volunteers wanting to take anybody's job, so,
What job is there?
They're all open.
Garbage man.
yeah.
I'll take garbage man.
You want ditches? You want ditches?
Environmental health?
Are you giving it away?
Is that what you want?
No.
No pay, but.
Uh,
Never mind.
Okay.
Okay, we have environmental health, ditches,
Yes.
streets,
Uh-huh,
town hall,
uh-huh,
parks and rec.
right.
What's next?
I think,
Zoning? No, zoning's voted.
No.
Building, no.
Environmental
I've already got that one. Environmental health, streets, ditches, parks and rec, and town hall. What else?
Cemetery.
Cemeteries.
It's on board.
yeah,
It's
that's
on
that's
board.
got its own board.
So,
Very quiet.
so Alicia still gets to be. We'll just vote her right back in. She didn't
Okay.
say she wasn't wanting.
Okay, I guess I would need a motion and a second to approve all the current people holding these positions.
I'll make a motion to accept everybody that currently holds the commissioner's jobs to be reinstated.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I got a second from Sean. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Everybody keeps their volunteer jobs. We didn't fire anybody.
Thank this payless.
Randy first, right?
What's that?
Randy.
Add another 0 to the end this year.
Okay, now, we've got 3 changes of use in the zoning, but one of them has kind of dropped off. I don't think we're going to vote on Karen Radovitch's place. We thought we had all the neighbors agreeing, but one of them has said that they're not. So we're going to have to, that is something that the committee that we're going to form will have to kind of iron out. But I don't want to try to run one through if we've got a neighbor who says that they don't want it. Well, that's something that we'll have to look into. So the first one we got here is Jesse Garetson. Would you like to speak, Jesse?
Quite straightforward. The front page is my request. Second page is a map of my adjacent property owners. I don't know if I got one yet, Jim, for you. I can get one. And I also attached the neighbors' responses. Sure enough, I'm short one.
Sean's a gracious
Okay.
sheriff.
Okay. And on that I've numbered the State Street addresses surrounding 724 State Street. One of them is 312 8th Street. One of them is 717 River Street. So if you have any questions, lay them on me.
Okay, okay. And did you get letters from these neighbors?
I have 6 of the 7 responses. The 7th one is 4 vacant lots just below the basketball goal at the Newcomb Center. And where they are, I don't know. I haven't got my return for my
I see.
registered mail.
They may not even be there. We don't know.
I found a phone number and called and
Okay.
left a message and still nothing.
Okay. I guess that I would like to say that he did rent it for 2 years, and nobody complained to me in those 2 years. I didn't hear anything. So,
And I am available 24/7.
okay.
And if I'm not, I have a backup.
Well, that's something that I think that we need to kind of write into this. We need a local manager, somebody that's here in town.
And I would volunteer to be on your committee.
Okay, and you would probably be a good one.
I've done quite a bit of research. for
Okay.
it.
Jesse, I
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question. Are you going to create the rental guidelines that Mr. Rupp is asking for? It says, let's see, in consideration of the above, I trust that the rental guidelines that you will create for your proposed renters will alleviate any of his concerns that he wrote in the
Yes,
above.
ma'am.
So you will have a rental guidelines?
I don't have it tonight.
But you will?
Oh, yes, yes. I have every intention, and somehow or another, the septic inspection slipped somewhere back up the road before I bought it. And so that will be done this summer also.
Yes.
Would you mind reading the request? I live in the same block and I haven't been notified of anything. So I'd like to hear what the request is.
The front page.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I would like to respectfully request a conditional change of use for our property at 724 State Street, Pitkin, Colorado, to permit rentals of 29 days or less in a residential zoned area. That is the request.
And it does just involve the 7 neighbors adjoining.
You need to raise your hand to be recognized. Oh, okay.
It just requires the 7 property owners to be notified that live in the adjoining
Well-
areas next to them, correct?
I kind of think that it should be like that, but that's what this group of people are going to work out. But I think that all the affected people need to kind of have a say in this. And apparently, they probably have here. Yes.
Doesn't this affect the whole town, and you're setting a precedent for
Well,
short-term rentals in residential sections by
This is-
allowing it? And isn't that what we just wrote an ordinance?
yes, and he's got all his neighbors to agree. Now, this is only temporary. If there turn out to be problems, but, because this is a conditional change, but it's not permanent. And people are worried, concerned that it's going to bring additional people into town, but I don't think anybody's going to really notice it. I mean, yes, Jacob.
I would just like to know that I know Jesse and Jared pretty well, and I know the typical people that usually come and stay in their cabins, and they usually are very respectful to townspeople. Townspeople, they're quiet after dark, don't usually bug people before 8 o'clock in the morning, and so on.
Okay. And I think that they're going to park vehicles up at the Silver Plume, is that correct?
I do have adequate off-street parking,
Okay,
but if that becomes a condition, we will consider it.
okay.
The question I got for you is we're voting on temporary, is that gonna be a year?
I thought that it was 1 year.
Cause I think there needs to be more guidelines made
Well,
for the short-term
that's-
rentals, like
That's
septic
why,
inspected by an engineer to see if it can handle how many
That's-
people.
that's what we're gonna, that's why I want this group of people to get together and form rules.
We wanna vote on this tonight, and that group of people aren't gonna
Well,
have the answer
okay,
for us.
no. We won't establish that till the next meeting. It could be fall or something. I don't know how long.
So
it's
they
gonna
can
take.
run it all summer long without any of the provisions that would be made.
Well, but if they cause problems, then they won't get it renewed the next time.
Steve, I feel like that, the septic thing,
I think the
whether
septic-
there are.
Yes, he has
restrictions about it or
agreed,
not,
he has agreed that he will get the septic, totally, it will be inspected and be right.
By an engineer or by James?
Who do you want it to
An
be?
engineer.
We'll do that then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it needs repair, it will be repaired. If it needs replacing, it'll be replaced.
If we'll go by what the engineer says.
Absolutely.
And if it needs
Okay.
replaced, it will be replaced.
And I understand when it hasn't been inspected for a few years, before you even owned it.
Not guilty as charged. The sanitation young lady, somehow or another, it missed somebody's before me.
Yeah.
I
there's
can take
times.
full responsibility from the time I bought it till now, and I've already told Susie I'll get it done this summer.
Yeah, but it
So-
hasn't been inspected since 2008.
2008.
Right. It was due in 2011, but they didn't own it then.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. Okay.
One thing I'd like to say is when we get our committee and we come up with our rules, that if this is granted, the new rules kick in automatically as soon as they're voted on, not next year, as soon as they're voted on.
That would be good, yes.
I mean, get the septics now, but any rules that come up with that,
Yeah, like how many people can stay in a house?
well,
You know.
the engineer will determine that.
Things.
The
Yes.
engineer will determine that.
That's how it's going to start.
Steve, I'd like to say I'm in favor of this, contingent upon the septic system inspection,
Yes.
whatever. But I would also like to see, and hopefully the committee will come up with this, some kind of a cap on the number of short-term rentals in residential areas in the
That
town.
That can be, yes, that
You know,
I
something-
expect to be part of it.
You know, it's,
Because we can't turn every other house into
A
one.
motel,
Yeah.
no.
so I'm thinking, I don't know. I met with
And-
Rachel today and we mentioned 8, something like that, in the residential area. Obviously, there's some in the business area already, something, in that range,
Well, and by approving this, we would have a chance to kind of watch and see how this works, see how this affects the town, see what goes on. Yes, Ramon?
Yeah. As the only full-time resident who is a neighbor of this property, I live in the same block. I'm as close as several of the properties that were listed as being contacted. I wasn't contacted. And I strenuously object to the board considering this, especially tonight, since I wasn't notified that this would be considered and taken place. I am familiar, apparently more so than the trustees, with the zoning ordinance. And I don't see anything. I'd like you to explain under what provisions of the zoning ordinance you intend to approve this if it's done. There are only very limited, which was read to you earlier, I won't repeat them, conditional uses that are allowed under the zoning ordinance, and this is not one of them. Temporary uses, I don't see how it qualifies. I'd like someone to explain how this can be considered a temporary use.
You were not contacted?
I was not
He's not a
contacted,
direct
no.
neighbor.
Well,
He's on the block.
He's 75
Jesse,
feet away.
would you like to respond?
Yes, I was requested to get adjacent property
Yes.
owners.
That's what I said.
There is property between myself and Mr. Reed.
Okay, that's something that needs to be
Sev-
handled by
75.
that.
Well, yes, that's
Sure.
why.
75 feet.
There was not anything said about 75 feet.
No.
He is more than 75 feet from my property, but
He is?
that, yes, he's 3.5 lots between us.
Susie?
I just want to say that I'm very, well, reluctant to see this happen, especially if a property owner 75 feet away
I think it's
did
87.
not even, 87, whatever. I know my brother, I know I shouldn't rely on my brother all the time, he's nothing to do with our government, but he did that job in the county, Finney County, Kansas
Yes.
for years, and he was suggesting it should be at least a 200-foot area around the property because we're so dense here, you know, we're not.
Yes.
And I mean, 87 feet away, I feel Ramon and Patrice should have had a say in this. And I also feel like because this is an exception to a zoning that is residential, I know I bought in residential because I wanted to live in residential and not have a business next door or across the street.
Have a business.
You know, I just feel like other people have done the same thing, and to just decide that, you know, we love the Garetsons, which I do, but to say that it's okay, it's a couple blocks.
Okay, then someone needs to take a look at the geography of Richmond, please.
You didn't raise your hand.
I don't
Ann?
care.
Yeah, so something else we need to consider are the owners of the lodges. Every lodge up and down this valley is either in transit selling position or, you know, they're available to own or whatever. We have to fill those lodges up before we sell out our town, is my opinion. The lodge owners aren't happy.
None of them have contacted me,
Well, you
so I
know,
don't
they're
know.
waiting to see what's going on. But
I guess
think that
the
we
o-
have
the
to
only
consider our
one-
businesses before we just open our town.
The only one that I have actually heard from is Mr. Pope that bought the hotel, and he was in favor of it. Yes, Kathy?
There's really just realistically, there's a precedent already set. These short-term rentals have been going on for years and years and years, and what is your ratio of problems that you've had with them in the past?
Yeah.
I mean, is it that big of a deal? Has it been that big of a deal? And I don't think everybody in town is complaining about these short-term rentals, and they haven't been, according to what I've learned about the history of the community. They're not a problem.
It might be for the state of Colorado and the county of Gunnison if, now I know it doesn't apply to what you've been doing with the Nassos, but if they're not collecting taxes, these people who are doing it, you know, the zoning says what residential is, and it is not short-term rentals. But it'd be interesting to see how the government would feel about, you know, where's their take on this?
Okay. Jacob?
I would like to say something about the lodging in
Yes.
this particular town. I spoke to Luke George down at the store this morning. He is taking reservations, but so far he has got every place booked until the end of August.
Okay.
So, with a few weeks here and there.
Okay. Candy?
I just would like to
Yeah, of
comment
course we
that, the Garetson house has been rented for 2 summers. It doesn't appear that it's affected any of the lodging. The Bighorn was for sale before this took effect. Quartz Creek Lodge has been for sale for years. Quartz Creek Cabins also have been for sale. We are full. I have tried to refer everybody I can to the Bighorn Ranch in Ohio City, as well as the other cabins and the other people that are wanting to do this rental, and everybody's booked. I don't know that what has happened at the Garetson home has affected. I'm sorry, I don't want to lose my train of thought, but I don't think it's, all these businesses were for sale before this rental stuff took place.
Yes.
but they're all filling up, they're all booked. I'm trying to get people in places to stay in the month of July, and nobody has any availability.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that what we've done, Quartz Creek Cabins, I've
I'm
heard
not
a lot of
booked.
people too.
I'm not booked, but we're further away and you can't drive.
That was the concern.
Let me ask the attorney here first for an opinion. We have a neighbor who has objected. You know, he's not an adjacent neighbor, but he's a neighbor. Do you think that we should proceed with this or not? Do you have any kind of legal opinion?
Well, I don't think it's a fair question.
No, I didn't, no.
There's some problems here. One, conditional use is defined at paragraph 7 of definitions, provides any use in any zoning district for which the Board of Trustees' approval is necessary and obtainable upon the fulfillment of certain conditions either expressed in this code or imposed by the Board of Trustees, which seems to me to be inconsistent with Section 8 conditional uses, which has specific and explicit conditional uses. That's problematic. Quite frankly, from my perspective, having the opportunity to visit with Jesse a number of times over the past years, I take him at his word, and if he says it's going to be good, I believe it. But I think at the same time, you're putting the horse or the cart before the horse. If you're talking about having a blue ribbon committee, after you're making some changes. If you want to, I mean, my thought would be, first of all, if you're going to have a committee, you don't have a committee next month, you have a committee next week. You address this issue, you do it in a public meeting setting so that if folks want to show and share their perspective, great. But I think that at a minimum, Rand's suggestion that any of the rules and guidelines that are made by the committee or endorsed by the committee and then approved by this board should be applicable to the Garetson property at a minimum. But like I said, I think the cart's getting put before the horse.
Can we organize this without putting it on the agenda for next month? Can we go ahead and, does it have to be an agenda item, or can we form this group tonight?
You know, in terms of what you can or can't do, you're not voting to take any specific action that's in any way binding.
It's just a recommendation.
So I would submit to you that perhaps what you do is you have some type of a special meeting in 2 weeks. Maybe it can be either a committee meeting or a board meeting addressing that specific issue. But
Okay.
I would submit that you got to have your septic in place. You got to have, and Jesse said something very important, that he's available 24/7. I think that right there is the biggest concern that I have, is that if there's a vacation rental by owner without somebody that can address a problem plus or minus 5 minutes, that's crisis level problem.
I have that covered.
Right. So, you know, I think at some levels, any way you slice it, you've got some inconsistent provisions within this zoning code that need to be addressed. And, you know, I would say that those need to be addressed at the same time as this committee is beginning its work. But committee issues that I see are certainly septic, certainly noise. And noise is not just volume, but quiet hours. Vehicle parking, numbers of persons. There's a whole range of issues here. I think that one of the issues that should be addressed is a cap on VRBOs within residential. If there's excess demand beyond the cap, then you do a lottery system or something to that effect. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but there's just a lot of issues. And so, although I feared that you were going to put me on the spot, I don't necessarily have all the answers.
Yes.
Or we could just skip all that and follow our current ordinance that says they're not allowed in residential areas.
Well, we may have to do that for the time being.
I don't know, Mr. Mayor, I think that there are elements of the zoning code that are inconsistent, that are internally inconsistent. I think that the definition of conditional use would allow such a modification subject to conditions, but it's not consistent
So we
with
need to kind of iron that out too, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Excuse me. As part of the application process, I would please request that you would consider that there be some sort of documentation in place to prove that the proper taxing authorities have been paid and that it's actually been treated as a business. Now, I
Well-
happen to be very confident that Jess and Chris have done that.
Well, that,
But I
yes.
believe that there are other properties in town who have disregarded Pickens law and at the same time disregarded the tax laws for the state of Colorado and the county of Gunnison. And I do not believe that they should be blessed for violating state and county law.
Okay, yeah, that's a point well taken, and that will have to be part of it.
And also, would you please consider that not everybody who lives in Pitkin is on vacation?
I understand that. I think I know that. Jesse?
Diesel trucks running all for 15, 20, 30 minutes, 20 of them out there, isn't very appetizing.
Jesse?
Thank you. I think I've been very visible for the last 2 years, and I've not had one complaint. Now, it's totally up to you, and I will abide by what you say, yea or nay. Thank you.
Well, I guess that I have to go by the law. I mean, I don't know, I can't just skip over it, yes?
I'd like to suggest, he said 2 weeks have a meeting. I think we ought to have one at the beginning of next week and get this board going, get it
I think so too.
done. And if we have to hold an extra town meeting to get it voted before June, because Jesse probably has people that are coming in
Yes.
before the next town meeting.
Uh,
I mean, it's sad this didn't come up earlier so we could have got it done all winter,
yes.
but it's
Jesse?
finally pushed us into doing it.
I'm a little bit like Rand was at the last zoning meeting.
Yes.
My first request, or even knowing about anything, was January meeting. And we had a special zoning meeting, and I had a letter prepared to ask for a variance. Before the variance meeting started, which is an open meeting, I was told that there would be these restrictions. I felt like the open meetings law had already been violated. And at that time, I said I didn't want to rush into something that I would be embarrassed about, or that the zoning or town would be embarrassed about. And then we had another meeting in February, I believe, and I prepared a letter for that one as a variance. And my counsel told me that that was what do you call begging or something, that I should not go through with that. So that's the reason it's been tabled until tonight, and I thought that I had found an avenue that could be workable. So now it's your decision.
Okay. Well, and I realized that time is the issue, but I don't want to throw it up to the board and have them vote it down because we haven't had a chance to do it properly. So I would propose a special town meeting for next Tuesday,
No, town meeting.
a board meeting,
A committee.
a committee meeting.
Committee
Well, we
meeting.
gotta pick the committee.
Get some job ideas out and then Maybe have a special town meeting before so we can vote on them.
Okay.
So they have time to do it.
Let me ask the attorney, can we pick the committee now, or do we have to wait till we have notice?
Well, I think that you've got notice of a proposed conditional change for Jesse and for Tom Gibbs and Karen Radovitch. I would say that this is inherently an element of those agenda items.
Okay, so we can go ahead and pick a committee then.
I would say so, but quite frankly, picking a committee is going to make recommendations.
That is correct.
At a public meeting.
Yeah.
So
That is
it's
correct.
not as critical who's on the committee, because everyone in town is going to be there anyway.
Yes, and we still have to vote on it,
Yes.
okay?
So if you want to have a committee meeting, you should meet next week, and then have a special town meeting the week after that. But either way you slice it, I think that Rand is absolutely correct. Summer's burning,
Yes.
and this has got to get dealt with.
This is the way people feel, and I don't want to just say, let's just go ahead and vote this now, because it just might get voted down if we don't take our time and do it. I'd better take our time and do it right. But we'll do it as speedily as we can. But I feel like if I just said, oh, I don't care what he says, let's just go ahead and vote on it, I don't think that that's right. It'd probably get voted down. I think that the committee's a good idea, and I think that we need to do it. And come up with some rules and guidelines. Jacob?
Never mind.
Okay. Juan?
Is there going to be a zoning board meeting to fix the inconsistencies that Mr. McDonald pointed out? That, they have one statement that is permissive, would allow I believe it's called a conditional use, or another statement that are on the code that sort of is conflicting?
I can't answer that, I'm not the zoning guy.
Well, the only reason I ask is we have an individual on the zoning board who has an objection to this situation, and I think that prevents, as an inherent conflict of interest. I mean, he has the right, this individual has the right to state his objection 100%, but if he's also on the zoning board that is going to fix these conflict in the zoning code, is that a problem?
The zoning board doesn't fix.
The zoning code, you will have to amend it. And
No.
In response to that question, the zoning board would make a recommendation, the board of trustees would be the one.
Approved.
Yeah, the zoning code doesn't take any action in that context.
Okay. Rachel?
Also, the provisions for requesting an amendment to the zoning code, as in the zoning code, can come from an individual. It doesn't have to come from the zoning board. So that being said, the committee could make recommendations to the town, or to the zoning board for amendment of the zoning code.
Okay.
We could meet with the minds and come up with what we think this should say to be consistent and correct, and we could recommend it as well. A citizen is allowed to request an amendment.
Okay. I guess we need to pick the people that are going to be on this.
I retract because I have a baccalaureate, graduation, and a
I know.
wedding in this next week.
I know, you've got a lot going on. Kathy?
Yes, I would be happy to be a part of the committee. I have a background in government service.
Okay. Well, I see plenty of volunteers.
Well, does it need to be people that live here?
Yeah, let's get people who have property.
Well,
We're the ones that it's affecting. Somebody's renting, it's not.
Get the floor.
Somebody that's renting is still an American citizen and a member of the state of Colorado as a citizen, whether they're renting or not. If you're only going to allow property owners, you're discriminating.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I apologize. Upon consideration, I think that the appropriate protocol would be to set a special meeting for next week. At the special meeting, you can consider any persons willing to volunteer, establish a criteria for participation within the committee, establish the number of persons for the committee, and establish when that committee meeting would be held.
Put something in writing formally?
Yes. That would be my suggestion, Mr. Mayor.
You mean a special town meeting?
That's correct, because I think at some level, if you try to choose a meeting today, it's
Yeah, I
free
can,
for all. And I think
yeah,
that we
I
need
can
to-
see that it's not gonna work. I can see that.
Or quite frankly, you know,
Of course, if we have a special town meeting, it will be the same thing again.
no. But what I'm suggesting to you is you have a specific criteria
Okay,
or a specific agenda, which would be one, establish qualifications for participation. Two, establish the number of participants within the committee. Three, review those persons that have submitted their interest in participating in the committee. And then four, establish the number of members of the Board of Trustees that may participate within the committee.
okay.
So we have, they can write a letter saying that they want to be on the committee for the next meeting, basically.
That would be my suggestion.
Yeah,
And I would say put notice out as quickly as possible, post it on the webpage, and do it as quickly as possible. I would submit to you next Tuesday is probably as early as it can happen. I know Thursday is baccalaureate, is that correct, Jesse?
Wednesday.
My baccalaureate Wednesday,
Okay.
and then Saturday's graduation.
Well, that's how I would suggest is the best way to go.
okay.
That way everyone has the opportunity
Corey?
to have their
So you're
say.
saying, so next week, you'll basically define this committee,
Yes,
and then it'll be another week or so. I don't say you can define the committee and then vote on it at the same time. You don't have any guidelines of how this committee's gonna be formed, number of people. So
That'll be the next-
I get what you're saying, I just think, it's the slow speed of government, I know.
What I'm saying, Corey, is I think that what we do is we put notice in the meeting notice as to what the steps that are going to happen at the meeting, and identify that anyone interested should submit a very brief writing explaining their interest,
After we vote,
and then vote at the end of the meeting as to who the committee members
vote on
are.
the committee, could the committee hold a meeting after that meeting then, so the ball can get rolling?
I don't see why not if it's duly noticed.
There'll
okay.
be a committee
Nope.
meeting immediately following the
Yes.
adoption of the
Yeah.
committee.
Yeah,
You
Corey?
define the committee size and then vote on the members in the same meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
And then have a meeting.
and then we'll have a
Committee
meeting.
have a meeting.
We're good.
Jesse?
I think it'd be wise for Steve or Jim to explicitly tell Corey what he's to post,
I can.
so that there's no
Yeah,
chance
we need,
for rumor.
yeah, I think we need to, we need
I
to
think we'll
do
let Jim
that.
do that.
Corey will visit before the post. before
Okay,
it's-
since we're going to do that, and what we had on the agenda were these conditional changes, I guess we will adjourn the meeting at 8:18.
I have a question.
Yes,
If we can't attend these meetings, can we put our thoughts in writing and give them to somebody?
sure you can.
Who should we give them
Town clerk.
Yeah,
to? The town clerk, okay.
Sorry, one other question.
Yes.
Along the same lines, if somebody's gonna apply to be on this committee, who did they submit their
Town clerk.
town
Send it
clerk
to-
to? So we'll send
So
it-
I'll have town clerk
Of
to
course,
the
you can
next
give it to
meeting.
me, but that's
I was just curious for anybody that was interested.
Next meeting, it's
So, maybe about 9.
here.
Do I have to be there?